There's a silent agreement you make with the world the moment you show up, with your eyes unsure, your voice low, your shoulders slouched, your presence begging for validation rather than radiating purpose. And in that moment, the world, without ever speaking it aloud, decides what you're worth. That decision isn't made in words. It's made in glances, in tone, in energy. You don't lose respect because you failed. You lose it when you stop respecting yourself, when you betray your essence to please, to fit in, to be liked. The price you pay is invisible, but brutal. Respect isn't given, it's commanded. And it's commanded not through arrogance, not through domination, but through an unshakable identity. When you walk into a room and your soul arrives before your body, that's respect. But here's the truth most won't tell you. Do this one thing, and people will disrespect you instantly. Compromise your self-worth for approval. The moment you try to be liked more than you try to be real, you lose. You become what Napoleon Hill once described: a drifter, a soul without anchor, swaying with every wind of opinion, every shift in the social tide. A man or woman with no definitive will, and the world crushes drifters. They get laughed at, used, forgotten, because the world respects clarity, conviction, power. And if you want power, not over others, but within yourself, you must master the one battlefield where every war for respect is fought: your mind. You see, every person you admire, Lincoln, Carnegie, Ford, Disney, they were not respected because they demanded it. They were respected because they built themselves into something unshakable. And that construction always starts from the inside. What you think of you, the world copies.
Think about that. If you carry yourself as an afterthought, people will treat you like one. If you question your own worth, others will treat you like a question mark. But if you move like a man or woman on a mission, rooted in values, unshaken by approval or rejection, people don't just notice, they adjust. Your energy sets the tone of every interaction before your words ever arrive. So if you walk into a room wondering if you're good enough, the room feels it. If you speak to be accepted instead of to be heard, your words fall flat. And the moment you shrink to make others comfortable, you confirm their suspicion that you were never meant to stand tall. Respect is a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. If you project fear, you'll receive avoidance. If you project desperation, you'll receive distance. But if you project certainty, value, and peace, you'll receive attention, trust, and yes, respect. But this isn't about being louder, it's about being deeper. The loudest person in the room is often the most insecure, because real presence whispers. It doesn't chase, it commands. Let's talk about belief, the cornerstone of identity. If your belief in yourself is rented from the opinions of others, you'll be evicted the second they change their minds. But when your belief is owned, when it's earned through discipline, forged through hardship, and signed in blood with action, no one can take it. Edison believed in the light before it existed. Carnegie believed in wealth before he had a cent. Lincoln believed in unity when the country was fractured beyond repair. They didn't wait for applause. They didn't wait for the crowd. They moved, and the crowd followed. Why? Because belief is magnetic. When you know where you're going, even when no one else can see it, you become dangerous. You become untouchable. Because confidence rooted in external things can be taken away. But confidence rooted in clarity is eternal. And clarity isn't found, it's forged. You gain clarity, not by asking the world what you should do. You gain it by asking yourself who you were born to be, and then listening to that whisper louder than the world's screams. Vision is born the moment you stop living on autopilot. It's born the moment you stop asking, "What will they think?" and start asking, "What will I create?" That's when your life becomes a mission, not a reaction, not a performance, a mission. Because when your life becomes about something bigger than approval, you instantly separate yourself from the millions who are still begging to be liked. My name is Lucien Vale. I am not a sage, nor a scholar. I hold no titles that place me above you. I am simply a witness to the human experience, a storyteller, and a quiet observer of the soul's struggle to find meaning. 15 years ago, I turned to books, not as an escape, but as a mirror. I wasn't searching for answers. I was searching for understanding of why we suffer, why we stray from our purpose, and why the mind, left unchecked, becomes the architect of our own despair. But as I wandered through the thoughts of giants, Hill, Emerson, Jung, Aurelius, I realized something most never will, that we're not here just to chase happiness. We're here to become, to transform pain into principle, to forge identity in fire, and to walk through life not begging for respect, but embodying it. Now, let's talk purpose. Purpose is not a passion you stumble into. It's a decision. It's the moment you say, I will no longer float. I will drive. It's the moment you realize you weren't built for ease. You were built for meaning, for struggle, for victory. The oak tree wasn't built in soft ground. It grows strong because it fights the wind, not because it avoids it. And neither were you born to avoid pressure. Pressure was made for you. The minute you run from responsibility, you run from respect. The moment you hide from the weight of purpose, you hide from your greatness. And in that hiding, people forget you, because people cannot respect what hides. Discipline is the bridge between vision and respect. You can talk about who you want to be, you can post quotes and read books, but if your habits are weak, your image will crumble the moment life gets hard. Discipline is the way you communicate to the universe. I am serious about my future. I am willing to pay the price others won't. And when you live like that, you start walking differently, not arrogantly, but solid, rooted. And when storms come, you're still standing. That's respect. Because people don't respect those who avoid pain. They respect those who walk through it and keep building. Action is the loudest language of self-worth. You want respect? Move. Don't ask. Don't beg. Don't explain. Move. People remember action. They forget words. Ford didn't wait for permission to build an empire. He made a decision, and then aligned his entire life around it. His time, his focus, his circle, his energy. That's the formula. Decide, align, move, and let them watch. Because the man who moves in silence but with conviction speaks louder than a million influencers chasing relevance. Now, gratitude. Gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is a weapon. When you are grateful, truly grateful, for the pain, the lessons, the struggle, you become invincible, because nothing breaks the man who sees value in every failure. You want people to respect you? Start by respecting life itself. Respect time, respect failure, respect rejection. Every insult, every setback, every door slammed in your face, it's all feedback. And if you treat it like fuel instead of poison, you rise. Gratitude turns setbacks into strategies. It transforms pain into power, and it silences the voices of envy, entitlement, and comparison, because you realize no one owes you respect. You earn it in the shadows, in the early mornings, in the lonely nights when no one is clapping. But perhaps the most overlooked key to commanding respect is adaptability. The world changes, people change, life will twist in ways you never expected, but the ones who survive, the ones who thrive, they bend, they don't break, they don't complain, they adjust. And in that adjustment, they grow stronger. Like fire forging steel, every storm becomes a lesson, every betrayal a sharpening, every detour a new tool. And eventually, you stop fearing change. You start welcoming it, because you know who you are, not who the world says you are, not what your circumstances try to define. You. The world respects those who don't flinch, who don't fold, who don't vanish when life gets ugly. Resilience is not just about surviving pain. It's about transforming it. When you're knocked down and you rise, not just bitter, but better. That's the kind of strength people feel in their bones. That's the kind of story that makes people sit up and listen, because pain is universal. But the way you respond, that's your signature. Let others drown in drama. Let them gossip. Let them chase attention like oxygen. You build quietly, powerfully, relentlessly. The final ingredient? Learning. Respect dies in arrogance. The moment you think you've arrived, you start falling. Stay teachable. Stay humble enough to know you don't know everything, but fierce enough to pursue mastery anyway. People respect those who are always evolving, not for show, but for growth. Because the man who keeps sharpening his sword, even when no one is watching, is the man who wins when the war comes. And when it's all said and done, the respect you command will not come from your titles, not from your followers, not from your status, but from your energy, your decisions, your unwavering self-respect, visible in every step, every look, every moment you choose growth over comfort. Do this, and people will feel you. Ignore this, and people will forget you. The world does not bow to potential, it bows to presence. So rise, stand up straight, speak truth, move with clarity, and live like a soul on fire. Because the moment you stop needing respect, you'll start commanding it.